Welcome to Math with Professor V. Here's your latest integral of the day. We have indefinite integral of the square root of x plus 6 over x plus 2 dx. So pause the video if you want to try it on your own. I know for a fact there's several approaches that you can take. I used trig-sub, believe it or not. And this integral is in response to a comment that a viewer left asking how I would solve this. So here's my response. Okay, so in order to get the ball rolling, the first thing I did was split the radical between the numerator and denominator. That's totally legal. We can rewrite this as square root of x plus 6 over square root x plus 2 dx. And then I decided to go ahead and rationalize the denominator. So I multiplied by square root of x plus 2. You probably could have rationalized the numerator as well. It doesn't really make a difference. So in the numerator, we're left with square root x plus 6 times x plus 2. I can put those together underneath the radical, and then just x plus 2 in the denominator, dx. So then I can go ahead, multiply everything out that's underneath the radical. So we'll have square root x squared plus 8x plus 12 over x plus 2 dx. And then this is when it started looking like a nice trig-sub problem to me. So looking underneath the radical, I said, okay, I think I'm going to try trig-sub, but I need to complete the square for the expression that's underneath there. So let's do that off to the side. X squared plus 8x plus, you take the coefficient on x, cut it in half and square it. So I'm going to add 16 minus 16 at the same time. That way I'm just adding 0. And don't forget, we still have plus 12 there. So then this is a perfect square trinomial now. I can rewrite it as x plus 4 quantity squared minus 4. Okay, fabulous. So then now think back to your cases when we do trig-sub. When you have the variable quantity squared minus a constant, which substitution do you use? The one involving secant theta, that's right. So we're gonna let, in this case, everything that's in those parentheses, I'm gonna let x plus 4 equal 2 secant theta. Why 2? Because you always put the square root of that constant as the coefficient on the trig function. Okay, fabulous. Then I need to figure out what dx is. So differentiate both sides. Derivative of x, 1 dx. Derivative of 4, 0. Derivative of 2 secant theta is 2 secant theta tan theta d theta. Beautiful. The only thing that might be making you nervous is that we have x plus 2 in the denominator. Just think of it as x plus 4 minus 2, right? That's the same thing. And then this x plus 4, I can replace with 2 secant theta, and I'll just have minus 2 hanging out. Okay, I think we're ready. Let's rewrite the whole integral in terms of theta. So in the numerator, we've got square root. Instead of x plus 4 squared, I have 2 secant theta squared. So it's going to become 4 secant squared theta minus 4 over, and then remember my denominator is x plus 4, which is 2 secant theta minus 2. And then dx is 2 secant theta tan theta d theta. Beautiful. How are you doing? Okay, so remember the whole point of doing the trig-sub is that so we can use our Pythagorean identities to rewrite this expression that's underneath the radical. So if we have 4 secant squared theta minus 4, I'm going to take out the 4. So it's 4 secant squared theta minus 1, which is 4 tangent squared theta. And don't forget, that's all sitting underneath this radical sign. So square root of 4 tan squared theta, technically it's 2 absolute value tangent theta, but we don't need to keep the absolute value bars because we always restrict theta when we do trig-sub. So I'm just going to replace the whole numerator now with 2 tangent theta over, let's factor this 2 out from the denominator, then we have secant theta minus 1, and then here's still 2 secant theta tan theta d theta. Good? Beautiful. These 2's cancel out. They sure do. And then notice I've got a tan theta here, a tan theta there, here, there, and everywhere. So I'm just going to rewrite it as tan squared theta. So we've got 2 tan squared theta secant theta over secant theta minus 1 d theta. Okay, good. What to do from here? I said, oop, there's secant theta minus 1 in the denominator. Let me multiply by the conjugate. That's super tempting. And then maybe I can use a Pythagorean identity and clean up. So let's multiply top and bottom by secant theta plus 1. Here we go. Secant theta plus 1. And then let's see. I'm just going to leave the numerator factored for now. So 2 tan squared theta, secant theta plus 1 over, and then since the denominator's conjugate pairs, I'm going to get a difference of squares back, secant squared theta minus 1, and d theta is hanging out there the whole time. Okay, hooray, because hopefully you remember secant squared theta minus 1, that's tan squared theta, which I have in the numerator. So this all cancels out, fab, fab, fab. And then we're left with integral 2 secant theta times secant theta plus 1 d theta. And then I'm looking and I go, you know what, let's just distribute. I think that'll let us bring it on home. Let's take the 2 outside. Then we have integral secant squared theta plus secant theta d theta. Yep, I know the antiderivative of secant squared theta. I know the antiderivative of secant theta. So we're done pretty much. The worst is over. Antiderivative of secant squared theta. Very good, tan theta. Plus antiderivative of secant theta is natural log absolute value secant theta plus tan theta. Well, well, well. Okay, plus c on the outside. Okay, we do need to go back to the original variable of the problem, which was x. So if you'll remember, we made that substitution. We said let x plus 4 equal 2 secant theta, right? Which means x plus 4 over 2 is secant theta. So let's draw a triangle that satisfies those conditions based on angle theta. So secant theta is the ratio of the hypotenuse over the adjacent side. And then the missing side I can find using the Pythagorean theorem. No surprise, it's rad x squared plus 8x plus 12. Love it. So then let's go back, use the triangle to rewrite everything in terms of x. So tangent of theta would be opposite over adjacent. So radical x squared plus 8x plus 12 over 2 plus ln absolute value secant theta, that's x plus 4 over 2 plus tan theta, which is again rad x squared plus 8x plus 12 over 2. Close her up, plus c. Now we can simplify this further, okay? So I can distribute this 2 through, and that'll be nice because it will cancel with the 2 in the first term. So then I'll just have square root x squared plus 8x plus 12 plus 2 natural log. I'm going to combine the 2 terms that are inside because they both have the same denominator 2. So I'm going to put everything inside that natural log all over the same 2. And then I'm going to show you something. I've shown it before. So you can use your log properties to rewrite that second term. Let me show you. So we still have rad x squared plus 8x plus 12 plus 2 times natural log absolute value x plus 4 plus rad x squared plus 8x plus 12. And then I can write minus natural log of 2 separately plus c. Because if you'll recall, ln of a divided by b is ln of a minus ln of b. So basically, I'm treating this whole numerator as a, this whole denominator as b. It's right there. Well, then what you can do is this 2 distributes, and 2 natural log of 2 is just a constant. So I can absorb it into this plus c and put a new constant at the end of my problem. So that way I just have less terms. My final answer is more simplified. So this is rad x squared plus 8x plus 12 plus 2 natural log absolute value x plus 4 plus the square root of x squared plus 8x plus 12. And then you go plus d, where, and you have to tell the people what's this new constant. D is c minus 2 natural log of 2. Now, if it bothers you to end with d instead of c, then what you do, once you realize that this is how the problem wraps up, is you go back and everywhere that you had c, you call it d instead. Or C1, something, you know what I mean? And then you can call this C, and then you just switch them around. If it bothers you enough, okay? I'm not bothered anymore. It did used to bother me quite a bit, let me tell you. So I'm taking it off. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But, you know, sometimes my mood, I'm especially neurotic. I want to end a perfect way. I'll do it. Yeah, you should always simplify that much. When you look up answers in like the back of your textbook or whatever, they will do that. They will get rid of that extra constant. Now you can't absorb it into the constant if there's variables here. If there's variables here, no, you would just stop. But if it's just a constant, yeah, simplify, clean up. How did you enjoy the video? Was it fun? I know you can do it with, I think like you do u-sub and then some partial fractions after. I might play around with it again, but a trig-sub just sounded safe and nice. I mean, I wasn't sure if it was going to work out as beautifully as it did, but fortunately, things came together nicely in the end. So give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. If you need to review any of the integration techniques I went over, then check out the videos that are linked in the description. Thank you guys so much for all your support. And you can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Yeah, go to my TikTok, Math with Professor V. I also show other things about, you know, my daily routine, working out, when I'm in class, different sorts of things. I'm teaching summer school, so I got students all the time. And I'll be back sooner than later. Thanks, guys. Bye.